Hi, this is Majinoni. Here's my review for Avengers Academy number 2 and Uncanny X-Men Heroic Age one-shot number 1. I want to spend more time with this, so I'm going to go through this really quick. And to be honest with you, this just didn't impress me at all. I'm really close to dropping it. Well, at the beginning, you have the kids are all having lunch or something, and then Reptile's kind of trying to make it sound like he's had some women friends, and then Ness is like, I read your file, you haven't even been kissed yet. So because he was teased like that, his pride was injured, she's going to give him his first kiss. And I'm like, Reptile, come on, this is a mercy kiss, you don't want that. Well, it gets broken up by Arsenal, that, if you guys remember, he was an Iron Man villain, and he's fought the Avengers a couple times. Well, he's attacking the heroes, and I'm like, this isn't right. First of all, why did he come in here? There's no reason for it. Two, if he can almost take out Iron Man and the Avengers, what chance would he, what chance would these heroes have? Well, sure enough, they're pretty much doing okay, but they're getting still owned. And there's absolutely no concern for these guys over here. They're like, should we go? Nah, let's not go. Let's see how they react, what they've learned. And I'm like, right there, that was the clue that there's something wrong with this picture. Well, they pretty much take it down, and sure enough, it was not even fighting it lethal, and it was reprogrammed. There's some funny interaction between Jostica, whatever her name is, and him, because they're not romantically involved any longer. Well, then it goes into them training, and Finesse is basically observing everybody, and she's learning things. Well, she learned that, most likely that everybody fears her the most because everybody else was tortured, and she's the only one that wanted to learn from Osborn, wanted the power. She tries to play some games with Hank Pym to get into him, to learn stuff from him, but she chooses the wrong thing. And then she has to redo her thing, and she's like, well, they're guessing that maybe she might be the daughter of Taskmaster, and I'm like, whoa, geez, great way of using an old stock picture there. And then they go through Quicksilver and what he's gone through, and then Hank Pym makes her watch a tape because he thinks that maybe she'll figure out something to help her out. Well, she leaves and goes to see Quicksilver, and sure enough, she figured something out alright. She figured out that there was no Skrull, it was Quicksilver doing everything that he did that caused problems. And the surprising thing is, she's like, well, you better teach me what you learned from the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, or I'll tell on you. So that kind of piqued my interest, but as a whole, I'm like, I don't know, one more issue and it's gone. Anyways, this is the better of the two anyways. Heroic Age, X-Men. This is pretty much, like, even though the Aftermath was the number 2, this really is pretty much, let's move forward now. You have the Hank and Scott, and Hank's being a royal ass. I know Scott messed up, but he's just being a total dick, saying, they're never going to see each other again. Scott's trying to make up for it, and Hank's just like, no, I want nothing to do with that. So Scott goes to the Savage Land, and he's burning off some steam, basically. Killing dinosaurs. Well, Hank McCoy, the Beast, he's off at the LeBar Tar Pits, and he's waiting for his date. Now, personally, I don't mind this version of the Beast that much, but I don't like this one. It's too dog-like, and especially when you consider he was having sex with that green-haired alien, person from Sword. It's like it really adds a whole weird level to furriness, which I don't want to think about. Well, he's stood up, and he's met by Molly Hayes, and then she's a mutant. They have a nice little conversation, and they talk about extinction and what extinction is. Then it's Reed doing some tests with Hope, and as you can see, the art changes from different storylines. The art's really not that impressive to me, so I'm not even going to comment on it beyond it's different artists. Well, it goes back to Scott fighting dinosaurs, and then Steve Rogers shows up, and they have a nice little talk. Then it goes back to Hank again, and the kid, and then Hank, mentioned something that a friend of his said that meant something to him, and then finds out, well, she's like, well, where is he? And he's like, well, he's dead. And then that kind of ruined the mood, and she runs away. Then it goes back to Hope with more tests, and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is the key right here. Steve Rogers goes up to Cyclops. Okay, let me explain something first. All of this, meaningless. This is the key right here. Steve goes up to Scott and says, look, you guys have been living in the darkness. It's time to now come out in the light. Now is the time to do it. Become heroes. And then Scott's like, well, there's mutants, the hysteria, hatred, prejudice, blah, 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 blah. It's basically he's digging up how many decades of storylines. And Steve's like, no. It's not going to be easy, but we have to make this change now. This is the time to do it. You saved lives, and it was televised that mutants saved people. So now's the time to do it. And this art here is just horrible. I mean, everything else was okay. I was okay with it. But this panel here, like, Rogue is looking nasty looking. Spider-Woman is jacked up looking. It's just, I'm like, what are you people doing? Even, like, the thing was okay, but the Cyclops, like, Queen and the Frost picture doesn't even look right, It just brought my joy of this chapter straight down to zero. Anyways, he goes on to say, look, let me be the catalyst. Let me start you to go into the light, and then we'll figure it out. Then it goes back to the Beast and blah blah blah. And Beast buys some popcorn. And he's still waiting for his girl, which we know is not going to show up because he's going to join Secret Avengers. Now we go back to Hope and Dr. Richards and them, and they say, well, she hasn't been vaccinated. She's got shots that she needs. So far, everything looks normal. Teeth, need to be fixed up. And then, they're trying to figure out her medical history. She's like, well, my family died. I don't know who they were. And this was like the most unsympathetic expression I've ever seen in my life. He goes, well, oh, my word, what awful. And I'm like, could you look a little bit like you cared? Oh, horrible art. And then Hope goes like, I want to go back to Alaska. And, they ultimately end up going, you have to wait till it's coming. So next we see Steve Rogers, the president, and they give Scott Summers one of those presidential medals of freedom. And, this way they're trying to make mutants better, more accepted. And there's a big party, X-Men receives Presidential Award of Freedom and blah, blah, blah. Welcome home, fireworks. This picture is everything that is not happening right now on the island. And then next up is, this is like the key part for the Hope and Scott, where Scott's like already dictating orders. He said, I want you to do tasks that need to be done, and Hope's just like, you don't get it, do you? And then that's when Scott finally, he takes his medal, he throws it into the ocean and goes, okay, what is it that you want to do? And she's like, well, what I want to do is, I want to find my family, basically. He's like, well, okay, fine. I'll sign you a team because, you're going to be a target. So let's send somebody, there to protect you. Now, overall, I had mixed feelings about this issue because it had highs and lows. The Scott and Steve Rogers storyline was really important, and the end part with Hope and Scott was also important. The Beast story, yeah, I could have done without. The Mr. Fantastic and Hope storyline, that probably went on a little bit too long, but important, we got to where we needed to get to, so for that I'm okay. Personally, I would only get this if you're a completist, like you need to have everything. Otherwise, you don't need this issue whatsoever. And those are my reviews for these two books. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it on the side. What was your favorite story out of the three, the Scott, the Hope, or the Beast? Subscribe to the channel, and until next time.